Hare Krishna devotees, welcome to Shloka a Day. Today's Shloka is Shloka number 30 of chapter 18. Pravrittim cha nivrittim cha
Pravrittim cha nivrittim cha
karya karye bhaya bhaye
karya karye bhaya bhaye
bandham moksham cha ya vetti
bandham moksham cha ya vetti
buddhissa partha satviki.
buddhissa partha satviki.
Forward meaning, translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Pravrittim,
Pravrittim,
doing.
doing.
Cha,
Cha,
also.
also.
Nivrittim,
Nivrittim,
not doing.
not doing.
Cha,
Cha,
and. Karya,
karya,
what ought to be done.
what ought to be done.
Akarye,
Akarye,
and what ought not to be done.
and what ought not to be done.
Bhaya,
Bhaya,
fear.
fear.
Abhaye,
Abhaye,
and fearlessness.
fearlessness.
Bandham,
Bandham,
bondage.
bondage.
Moksham,
Moksham,
liberation.
liberation.
Cha,
Cha,
and. Ya,
ya,
that which.
that which.
Vetti,
Beti,
knows.
knows.
Buddhihi,
Buddhihi,
understanding.
understanding.
Sa,
Sa,
that.
that.
Partha,
Partha,
O son of Pritha.
O son of Pritha.
Satviki,
Satviki,
in the mode of goodness.
in the mode of goodness.
Translation, O son of Pritha,
O son of Pritha,
that understanding
that understanding
by which one knows
by which one knows
what ought to be done
what ought to be done
and what ought not to be done,
and what ought not to be done,
what is to be feared
what is to be feared
and what is not to be feared,
and what is not to be feared,
what is binding
what is binding
and what is liberating,
and what is liberating,
is in the mode of goodness.
is in the mode of goodness.
So Prabhupada writes in the purport here, performing actions in terms of the directions of the scriptures is called pravritti, or executing actions that deserve to be performed. And actions which are not so directed are not to be performed. Therefore, that would be called nivritti. One who does not know the scriptural directions becomes entangled in the actions and reactions of work. Understanding which discriminates by intelligence is situated in the mode of goodness. We constantly exercise our free will to make choices, and our cumulative choices determine where we reach in life. To make proper choices, a developed faculty of discrimination is required. The Bhagavad Gita itself was spoken to Arjuna to equip him with the power of discrimination. At the outset, Arjuna was confused about his duty. His inordinate attachment to his relatives had bewildered his judgment regarding proper and improper action. Even though adharma was clearly recognized by Arjuna, still because of his attachment to his near and dear ones, he was suddenly confused about, am I doing the right thing? Had there been no relationship there, he would have known that, yeah, I have to, put down the adharmic forces. He would not have had any doubts. But only because of that relationship, it was bewildering for him. Feeling weak and fearful and in utter confusion, he had surrendered to the Lord and requested him to enlighten him regarding his duty. Through the divine song of wisdom, Lord Krishna helped Arjuna develop his power of discrimination until he finally concluded, I have explained to you the knowledge that is more secret than all secrets. Ponder over it deeply and then do as you wish. The mode of goodness illumines the intellect with the light of knowledge, thereby refining its ability to discriminate the right and wrong of things, actions, and sentiments. The sattvic intellect is one that makes known to us what type of action is to be performed and what type of action is to be renounced, what is to be feared, and what is to be ignored. It explains to us the reason for the shortcomings in our personality and reveals the solution for them. So the power of discrimination is what Krishna is talking about in this 30th shloka. Now, why does this matter for Arjuna? To help Arjuna choose wisely, this is His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu's commentary. Krishna analyzes in terms of the three modes the various elements of decision making, including the intelligence. How is intelligence different from knowledge, which was analyzed earlier in shlokas 20 to 22? Knowledge is associated with the knowledge acquiring senses and the proper perception of sensory information. So knowledge is coming to you from outside, and you use your senses to receive this knowledge. In contrast, intelligence is associated with the working senses and the ability to clearly perceive the right course of action. So you could say knowledge is at a more basic level, intelligence is at a slightly higher level because it includes the discriminatory power. Is it that the two don't go hand in hand? Absolutely, they go hand in hand. Because when you see something that you're not supposed to eat, then it is your intelligence that is supposed to tell you, don't eat this, it's not good for you, right? So knowledge, you can say, is more on the baser instincts, baser senses side. If our intelligence is in the mode of ignorance, which Krishna will talk about in the 32nd shloka, we end up mistaking and justifying the wrong thing to be the right thing and the right thing to be the wrong thing. In the battlefield context, such an intelligence would lead Arjuna into a double misjudgment. How is that double misjudgment? Deem abandoning the fight an act of compassion, which is, he may have concluded, had Krishna not spoken the Gita to him, that abandoning the battlefield was actually an act of compassion. And simultaneously, fighting for the cause of dharma, an act of greed. So you see what Arjuna was actually bewildered with? He thought, by not fighting, I'm being compassionate. And he thought, in this case, if I fight for dharma, I am actually acting out of a sense of greed because I am thinking, I want the kingdom. Why should my cousins and relatives have the kingdom? Therefore, Chaitanya Charan Prabhu is saying this would have been a double error or misjudgment on Arjuna's part. One is a false sense of compassion and a false sense of dharma leading to greed. If our intelligence is in the mode of passion, which will be in the next shloka that we do, we can't decide which action is right or wrong. Our principles often get mixed up with our desires, leaving us unclear about which action is principle-driven and which is desire-driven. I think all of us have experienced this at some point or the other in our life. We don't know when we should side with the principles and when we should focus on our desires. Obviously, we should always fall on the side of principle, but then because of our attachment to our family members, we give in to our desire and compromise on the principle. Of course, forgiveness is an element of maintaining good relations. All of that is there. But at some point, we do compromise on principles because of the strong desire for loved ones. At the start of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna was in such a confused condition before he turned toward Krishna for guidance. If our intelligence is in the mode of goodness, which is what Krishna is talking about in this shloka, we gain clarity to differentiate between actions that liberate and actions that entangle. Obviously, if you select actions that are driven by desires for material things and material relationships, then you'll get entangled. As Arjuna's starting dilemma, was his inability to choose between his Kshatriya Dharma, duty as a warrior, and his Kula Dharma, duty to his dynasty. Krishna's purpose in speaking the Gita could be said to be elevating Arjuna's intelligence to the mode of goodness and beyond to transcendence. And Krishna's mission was spectacularly successful. Arjuna did gain the desired clarity by analyzing intelligence in terms of the three modes. Krishna guides Arjuna to elevate his intelligence till he can discern his duty clearly. So if there is a conflict between two dharmas, how do you make the decision? Because Krishna speaks about intelligence under the influence of Sattvagun, Rajagun, and Tamogun, and also intelligence that is dovetailed with the Lord's will, then Arjuna is able to clearly understand by the end of the Bhagavad Gita what is the right thing to do. So the conflict for Arjuna in the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita is, should he be a Kshatriya or should he be a family man, right? His dynasty should he protect, or should he protect good governance? Of course, Krishna says, the only thing you should be worried about is me, right? If you look at the choices here, the answer would be Kshatriya Dharma, if there is a clear conflict between two different dharmas. But what does Krishna say at the end of the Bhagavad Gita? Sarva dharman parityajya. The only dharma that matters, Krishna says, is you surrender to me. And surrendering to Krishna means surrendering to his will. Since Krishna has clearly expressed that he wanted this fight to pursue so that dharma can be reinstated, then Arjuna understood that this is Krishna's desire. I have understood your instructions. Karishye vachanam tava. I will do as per your instructions. Arjuna never said, I have understood and I have come to a final conclusion. He simply said, I have understood that you want me to follow your instructions and I'm ready to follow your instructions. Of course, the question for us will be, Krishna is not there in front of us, to provide such level of clarity. So then what do? You have to seek the advice and counsel of senior Vaishnavas to understand what is right or wrong and what's the right thing to do. When there are conflicting situations in your life, you should seek clarity so that you know that you're on the right path.
If you like our videos, please subscribe to our channel and turn on the bell notification. If you'd like to join our classes every day, please check the details in the description section of this video. We look forward to serving you.